I need to tell you a story, but to do that, we need to go back in time. I mean, way back in time. We start our journey over 60 million years ago. Both planet and ocean temperatures were a global average of 24 degrees Celsius. Today, it averages 14 degrees Celsius. It was hot. The warm temperatures were due to the planet continually being damaged by asteroids, which ended up killing most of the land-based dinosaurs, leaving only the avian ones left. On top of that, over 75% of the species on planet E were killed. It wasn't a great time to be here. The tectonic plates reacted by rearranging themselves. Literally, earthquakes and volcanoes were fighting for who was the most dominant between the two of them. Around the 55th parallel, though, loads of molten basalt was injected into a chalk layer, and it piled up in the floor into these long pillars. As it cooled, similar to an airy, muddy climate that you see in Australia quite often, the basalt also fractured and formed horizontal hexagonal discs. We know this place today as the Giant's Causeway. As humanity started to evolve, though, the actual science behind this natural phenomena was replaced with some pretty epic lore. It starts back long ago. There were two giants, a Scottish giant and an Irish giant. The Scot, Benon Donar. The Irish, Finn McCool. At one point, Benon Donar wanted to come over and fight Finn McCool. But Finn McCool's wife saw how big Benon Donar was, and she said, "No way, you are gonna fight that guy, he is twice your size." So what did she do? She dressed up Finn McCool like a baby. Not that Finn. Not that Finn. She dressed up Finn McCool like a baby. And whenever Benon Donar saw Finn McCool dressed up as a baby, he thought he was actually seeing Finn McCool's baby, not Finn McCool himself. So Benon Donar thought, oh shit, if this is the size of Finn McCool's baby, I am screwed. And he ran off back to Scotland. And as he ran off, he destroyed the entire causeway where they were supposed to fight. And by doing so, he hoped to not let Finn McCool chase after him. Is it story? Is it lore? Is it legend? No one knows. But I do know that if you dress up a giant man as a baby, you'll scare someone else off. In popular culture, though, Giant's Causeway holds a place for some pretty popular films. In Game of Thrones, the alleged Battle for Westeros takes place here. Although I've never seen it, I've heard the cinematography is fantastic. More importantly, though, Giant's Causeway is the place where Thaddeus goes to find Prince Fabios's lost bride in the Hollywood epic masterpiece starring Natalie Portman, Your Highness. It's not shocking to say, though, that Giant's Causeway is just one tiny little piece in this whole Northern Ireland phenomenon of awesome geological features. There's towns that you drive by that are frozen in time, who appreciate tourists as much as I do. There's other towns living a simple life, eating from the sea, drinking from the sun, and giving free views to nature's finest scenery. But there's also hidden caves. Now, these have a story too. They were obviously made popular with Game of Thrones. The story goes that one day, the Game of Thrones crew had an opportunity for a day off work. So what did one of the film cast members do? Went for a walk. It's kind of what you do here in Ireland for fun. So as this person is walking, he stumbles across this local area, walks down along the shore and sees these awesome caves carved into the ground. The walls are green and blue. The floor is soft and dark, and the light is amazing. Immediately, he sent a photo to his producer. Producer came down and saw the cave. A couple of weeks later, they were filming in these caves, and the guy got a $5,000 finding fee. The Cushionton Caves are allegedly where some baby shadow thing was born. I've never seen Game of Thrones, but that's what happened here. More importantly, though, is the Glendon Hotel. Now, this place looks pretty epic, and I would love to come back someday after the lights go down, after the tourists go away, and actually see what's inside here. Because I think there's a story that needs to be told. One of the most confusing places I visited was the Dark Hedges. Although they gained modern fame with a 15-second clip highlighting King's Road that took 5 days to film in Game of Thrones, these hedges actually are just a row of 150 beech trees. They were planted in 1775 to outline the entry to this huge manor that was newly built. Of the original 150 trees that were built, only about 90 remain standing today, which is really an astonishing feat. As with all stories, lore, and history, there is always a bit of fiction and fact and fiction. And Irish culture is built around telling stories, laughing, and making the best of all conditions. Windy, rainy, or randomly extremely hot, as it was 60 million years ago. If you decide to travel to Northern Ireland, I've got a couple of travel tips for you that you should take with you. Definitely follow the coastal road. It's a view that tops the PCH in California and Sea to Skyway in Vancouver. Hire a local driver. You're driving on the left-hand side of the road. On top of that, you're driving in single-lane roads built for very small cars. If you're not used to it, it can be a very stressful activity. Bring a bunch of snacks. But nothing beats finding an awesome overview with a tiny little pull-out spot for a car, pulling over, having a snack, sitting at the car and enjoying it. Be prepared for wind, rain, sun, whatever weather you can think of, it'll likely happen in the same day. Ireland is a tiny little island that sits in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean and the Irish Sea, and the weather patterns that circle around the island are fascinating. Visit Giant's Causeway as late as you can in the day. The tourist center closes at 5 o'clock, but the sun sets really late in the evenings. You are at the 55th parallel, so the sun will stay up and the sky will stay bright until about 11:30 midnight at night. After the people leave, you have an experience that's very hard to top. Ireland is the land of lore and mystery, and of course castles and a lot of rain. Next week, we're going to explore even more of the lore as we go down to a city that holds history in my family name. Thanks for watching. Bye. Done.